Thank you, Chair. I'm audible, yes. Great stuff. So good morning to one and all. And I see a lot of friends in the room. Now, long story short, I was part of the library for many years, so that's why I can call them my friends as well. And yes, good to see all of you. So I would like to echo what the chairperson also indicated, that we need to remember that this is a dialogue. So coming from the Department of Information and Knowledge Management, we're all about sharing of knowledge, sharing of ideas. So I encourage you to keep on having the dialogue. So let's not drown by PowerPoint, but let's engage each other as well. So it's my honor and privilege just to call out a couple of names, and I would like you to come and sit in front if you are present. So, thank you. So the first individual, Amao-Taiwo Bakula and Idolar Catherine, and they're from the Entrepreneurship and Skills Development Center, as well as Blessing Umukuyaba from the Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Laboratory from the University of Lagos. I presume that they're online. Yes, online. Great stuff. Thank you. Next individual is Kirsten Kraus, a senior research advisor at the Worldwide Information Services, and also online. Yes, online. Great. The next individual, Lawrence Ravinga, a lecturer from the Department of Computer Science from the Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences, and Luke Mayoga, also from the Systems Analyst and Innovator from that same institution from Zimbabwe. I presume they're also online? Yes, great stuff. Thank you. Please come and join us. The next individual, Riabaitsa Mokutswana, research prospective candidate from the University of Pretoria. Please come and join us. And the last talk will be from Lungilwe Mandayana and Samuel Nkoyoni from the Library and Information Services from the Walter Sisulu University. Yes, great stuff. So I invite these individuals. Please remember you've got 5 minutes to come and share your dialogue with the rest of the group. And we're looking forward to your engagement. Thank you. Can we start with the individuals from Lagos? Are they online?
Thank you very much. So my name is Dr. Bukola Amao-Taiwo, and we are alongside my colleagues, Eloho Idoholo and Blessing Omokoba. We will be making a presentation on the enablers and barriers to AI adoption using the University of Lagos lecturers context. We all know that AI is making significant inroads in higher education worldwide because of its transformative potential for teaching, learning, and administrative processes. However, the level of adoption across continents is, however, not balanced, as we have some continents, some countries like the US having 68% of adoption, Europe having 47%, and then we come to Africa, which is gradually gaining momentum. And the momentum is driven by the need to enhance quality and accessibility of higher education. As a matter of fact, the African Development Bank has stated that if Africa is able to adopt the use of AI in its higher education, it has the capacity to add up to $1 billion to the GDP by 2025. Nevertheless, the adoption rate of AI in higher education in Africa is uneven. And in Africa, we have about 20% rate of adoption based on higher education metrics. So we sought to look out for the barriers and enablers of AI adoption using the University of Lagos context. Now, at the University of Lagos where I work, there is still a kind of ongoing argument on, do we use AI for teaching? Do we use it for learning? Do we use it to foster deeper engagement with our students? And how do we balance the fact that AI is a learning tool, and like someone said earlier, and then a cheating tool where students are able to bypass boundaries and assessments assessment lines. So we decided to ask a few lecturers, about 100. It's an ongoing study. We plan to ask about 100 lecturers on what is stopping you, what are the enablers of AI adoption, and what are the barriers that is stopping you if you're not yet adopting AI, probably in your teaching, in your engagement with students. What is stopping you? So from our research, it is clear that there are three critical enablers. We found out three critical enablers, and I will address them. I will address them based on the strength of each enabler. The strongest enabler we found was training programs. Professional development and comprehensive training stood out as one of the ways in which higher education managers can help lecturers and facilitators of learning in the University of Lagos to begin to adopt the use of AI in their teaching and student engagement. It is very important to support lecturers to acquire the necessary skills to effectively integrate AI into their teaching practices. Continuous learning and upskilling stood out as one factor that is able to drive better adoption and integration of AI in teaching and learning. The second enabler we found that was prominent across board, across the lecturers we talked to using our tool, was the access to AI tools. Now, in the University of Lagos, there is infrastructure in terms of cloud technology, infrastructure in terms of internet, infrastructure generally was able to, drive the adoption of AI. Lecturers do not need to worry much because of the accessibility to the internet, which is driving its adoption and making them to able to use the tools effectively. The surprising thing is that when we conducted this study, the factors, the variables that serve as enablers also showed that there were also barriers to AI adoption. I'm going to talk about that later on. And then the supportive infrastructure, which I said earlier, which is related to the first one I said, the reliable internet connectivity. They were foundational to the adoption of AI among lecturers. And then there were diverse things lecturers wanted to use AI to do, but that was clear in the barriers, that was more prominent in the barrier area when in terms of AI adoption. One of the major barriers to AI adoption is that lecturers feel that they required technical support for them to be able to adopt this effectively and make impact, relevant impact as lecturers. Now, the second thing that stood out as a major barrier is the high cost of AI tools. Now, many of the lecturers we spoke to are presently using the free ChatGPT, and then having them to use the paid version became, it was not so feasible because of the cost of acquiring the software, and for the specific AI tools too. The cost of acquiring the softwares became a major barrier. And then training showed clearly as a clear barrier, because we had some lecturers who do not even think that AI is going to provide benefits for the higher education sector. So there's pressing need for more programs. And then the last one, which is the student readiness area. For me, and because this is a triangular study, we're still going to speak to students. And then the few students we have tried to speak to are kind of, the way they perceive it is that, okay, this is a fast way out of assignments. This is a fast way out of getting things done. This is a fast way out of projects. The amazing things AI can do, it takes a student that is deliberate and intentional to say, I want to use this as a learning tool and not as a cheating tool. And that is one of the barriers the lecturers stated, that they do not have it, that they do not want to have it that students go to somewhere to get their answers and then dump it on the lecturers to do the assessment. So how do we now assess, how do we address these challenges and try to embrace the opportunities that AI is presenting to us? One of the major ways the lecturers recommended is that there should be a robust technical support system that will enable educators to leverage AI tools confidently and effectively. Also, there was need for the part of the recommendation was the need for funding and resource allocation. And then sometimes it might be blurry to find universities being able to do this alone. And they were recommending that there should be strategic partnerships that will alleviate the financial burden of having this technology. Comprehensive training programs is also key, because the truth is, whatever programs we are bringing into higher education, if the lecturers, the facilitators, the teachers are not equipped for delivery, are not equipped to provide the necessary support, are not equipped to be ethical in their use, if they are not equipped to be able to get the best from AI. And then I think our argument is that AI integration might not get to the level we want it to get to in Africa. The last one is student readiness programs, and that means initiating programs that enhance student digital literacy. You can't separate digital literacy from AI literacy. Our students need to get prepared to engage with AI in ethical ways that promote learning and, in fact, promote deeper learning and further engagement. AI is a tool for learning. For me, the advantages of using AI far surpasses the disadvantages, because it's a rare opportunity to start your work as a human where the artificial intelligence stops. So it's an opportunity, and addressing these challenges will help the continent itself to be able to, increase the extent to which AI is adopted and integrated in higher education, and then the end point, which is achieving better impact of education. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much. Very interesting talk. Thank you. Next off, we're going to have a listen to Kristen. Kristen, are you there? Audible?
Yep,
Great.
I'm here.
Just the title of this talk, Enacting AI Ethics in Writing and Structuring Academic Manuscripts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chair. I hope you can all hear me. I'm all the way from Ireland. I originally came from South Africa. I was told that I have 10 minutes and I'm not supposed to use slides, so it's going to be slightly different for me. What I want to do is just highlighting the key claim that I want to discuss today. And this claim is that if you look at statements about AI ethics and authorship, and there's like 4 prominent ones that I will discuss in a minute, most of them in essence say that you should disclose the use of AI tools, how authors use them. The authors should disclose the use of AI tools and how they use it. But what is missing from this discourse on AI ethics in research, especially if you look at the guidance you get from these statements, is nuanced examples of how AI ethical principles are implemented in practice, but specifically in the practice of writing and structuring manuscripts. So my focus is on academic writing and argumentation, and then specifically, where AI can be risky or unethical, use of it can be unethical. But I want to, towards the end of my discussion, just talk through a few points that I think would be considerations, for how one could restructure or structure academic manuscripts that specifically make claims about ethical use of artificial intelligence. Another claim that I want to put forward also as an underpinning for all of this is that understanding the principles of scientific knowledge production will remain a robust defense against questionable scientific trends. Now, we've seen a lot of questionable scientific trends. Unethical use of AI would be one of them, and it can actually exacerbate all the other issues. Now, if we look at the statements about AI ethics and authorship, one of the most prominent ones would be the Committee on Publication Ethics, COPE. And what they say, amongst other things, is that they say that authors must be transparent in disclosing the materials and methods of a paper and how the AI tool was used and which tool was used. So, in essence, that's what they put forward. If you look at the Journal of American Medical Association, they say that authors should report the use of AI, language models, machine learning, or similar technologies to create content or assist with writing or editing of manuscripts. And they suggest an acknowledgement section or a method section that incorporated this as a formally part of the research design and methods. They also say that the submission and publication of content created by AI and these models is discouraged unless it's part of the formal research design or methods, and it's not permitted without clear description of the content that was created. And then they say the name of the model, the tool, the version, and manufacturer, and those sorts of things. So that's the guidance you get, at least from YAMA and from COPE, in terms of practical implementation. In terms of the International Committee of Medical Journals Association, they also say that authors should disclose whether they use AI-assisted technologies in the production of submitted work, but they give a little bit more detail. They say, for example, if it was used for writing assistance, you need to describe it in the acknowledgement section. If it was used for data collection, analysis, and figure generation, authors should describe this use in the methods section. And they also say that chatbots should not be listed as authors because they cannot take responsibility, which is a similar theme that runs through the entire, all four of those examples, those statements. World Association of Medical Editors, WAME, or WAME, made four statements, or actually 5 statements, and they amended those statements after the introduction of, the launch of ChatGPT. They said only humans can be authors. They said authors should acknowledge the sources of their materials, which talks to proper referencing. They say authors must take public responsibility for their work. And then editors and reviewers should specify to authors and each other any use of chatbots in the evaluation of the manuscript and the generation of reviews and correspondence. So that's a critical thing, and it talks to the peer review process, and AI can be used for peer review. And then point 5, they say editors need appropriate digital tools to deal with the effects of chatbots in publishing. WAME goes further to say that, echoing the same idea as the other 3, they say that authors should be transparent when chatbots are used and providing information about how it's used. And they give a little bit more detail, probably the most of all 4 of those. They say, for example, all prompts used to generate new text or to convert text or text prompts into tables, illustrations should be specified. They say when an AI tool such as a chatbot is used to carry out or generate analytical work, help report results, or write computer codes, this should be stated in the body of the paper in both the abstract and methods section. And then in the interest of enabling scientific scrutiny, and this is now allowing a reader or a peer reviewer to confirm or refute the validity of the claim, as they say that they need to include and to replicate and identify falsification, the full prompt used to generate the research results, the time, date of query, and the AI tool used, the version should be provided. They also talk to plagiarism, and there's a lot of views on plagiarism. I read a very cynical paper the other day by Noam Chomsky that said that AI is plagiarism software, in essence. I think it's a bit extreme, but in terms of research, one should consider those sorts of views. They mention plagiarism, and they also say when it comes to editors and peer reviewers, that's WAME, their 4th recommendation, they said that authors should specify to each other the use of chatbots in the evaluation of the manuscript or the generation of reviews and correspondence. And then they also talk to the need for detection. So, there's a lot said about that we need to do this, but there's basically no examples in these four statements, these four examples on on statements on AI ethics and authorship, examples of how to actually do this in the writing of thesis. Now, in terms of a claim to, if we think that, all of this can actually become part of our scientific claims, when Yama came up with 10 scientific claims that should be part of most research or scientific endeavors, scientific argumentation, one of them, his original statement said, and this is a claim that needs to be defended, said that the research has been conducted in an ethical manner. That's a claim that needs to be defended. And then he adds, he said, respondent autonomy and the confidentiality is maintained, ethical data collection protocols are observed, and no part of the work has been plagiarized, and all sources have been acknowledged. Now, using this claim as a start, I want to propose an extension of that claim as a scientific claim to be defended in academic work or scientific work. And this is my new version, or extended version. It says that the research has been conducted in an ethical manner, respondent autonomy and confidentiality is maintained, ethical data collection protocols are observed, no part of the work has been plagiarized or AI authored, and all sources have been acknowledged. All questionable references have been eliminated. That's an addition. Given things like AI-generated content, which you see in places like Retraction Watch. And then AI-assisted technologies have been used ethically in the production of the work. The use of AI-assisted technology has been declared and made transparent. So that's the extended claim. Now, if one looks at any type of scientific claim, the reader should be able to corroborate and replicate the process in order to confirm or to refute the claim. So if we as authors, whether you're a student or an academic writing a paper or a thesis, you make that claim, there should be enough evidence to support that claim, and the process should be clear where you connect evidence to claim so that the reader or the reviewer can corroborate or replicate the process to confirm or to refute whether you are in fact using AI ethically. Now, in terms of the practical side of things, how can one do this? It talks to how research manuscripts can now be restructured and the ethical AI use articulated and defended, which is missing from the four statements about AI ethics and authorship, the details. So here are just a few suggestions. Obviously this is an entire workshop, an exercise that needs to be refined and possibly particularized for each university, each discipline. But I would suggest the following. AI ethics and AI use literature review should probably be part of a thesis, where you demonstrate awareness of questionable AI-generated or AI-driven science and authorship. We demonstrate awareness of AI and authorship criteria, including, mentioning these four statements, where you demonstrate awareness of AI biases. We've spoken about these AI biases, worldview biases, language biases, and I think this is especially important given the South African context. In terms of authors, when it comes to ethics, you need to make sure, and this is, that we can add detail to this, but I just want to go through the highlights. We need to make sure that, when you use AI for proofreading or whatever, that it does not ingest your data. And if you plan to ingest it, ethical clearance processes should make your participants aware that you're going to use the recorded interviews or whatever as part, you're going to feed it into an AI tool and they're going to use it for this and this purposes. I think our ethical clearance processes should possibly be amended based on this possibility that AI tools can ingest data. You should acknowledge your reading of requirements of authors and AI ethics. And there you can provide summaries of ethical AI and authorship statements. You can summarize core readings And it's all about demonstrating awareness, acknowledging that the importance of transparency and ethics and those sorts of things. Then I
apologize,
think
we're
part
running
of
out
that
of
would be,
time.
sorry.
Apologies, like I said, we're running out of time, so if we can
Oh.
just wrap up, please, that would be awesome.
Oh, let me wrap up. So let me just mention the last few points. I suggest allocating a section which talks to structure, how you use AI for structure, how you use AI for proofreading, including providing evidence to make those links, how you use AI for data treatment. Did you read the literature on using AI for assisting you with reading? How did you use AI for finding literature? Did you study the limitations of tools if you use specific tools? And then how did you check generated text next to original text so that you did not distance yourself from the original text? And then there's a few points for editors, which I will leave for the next phase. So thanks for that. Sorry to use a bit extra time.
Problem. Thank you very much. I think it's a very, very important chat, and all researchers in the house will definitely need to take note of that. So moving swiftly on, I would like to ask Luke. Yes, please, Luke. Luke's chat will be on the leveraging of artificial intelligence for automated literature review processes. Please come in.
Compliments of the day, everyone. I'm Luke Magayo from Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences, and I'm the systems analyst there. So our topic, or should I say our title, is leveraging artificial intelligence for automated literature review processes. So the thing is, I noticed there's a gap between the technicians and the, should I say, the non-teaching staff and the teaching staff. So us as the non-teaching staff, standing in as the systems analyst, right, I can safely say that, well, the technical side, we do understand it. We do understand the AI prompts. We do understand ChatGPT. We do understand AI more than the teaching staff, right? So I would like to say that on this topic, I managed to partner with some teaching staff so that we can bridge the gap. What's lacking between the researchers and the people that are there, and what's there? How are we going to bridge this gap? So I'll start off by saying, let's go. Let me take you back a bit to the importance of literature review. So as we all know, that literature review, right, is actually critical for all researchers. They actually provide the comprehensive overviews of the existing researches. They identify the knowledge gaps between the existing research and the ones that we want to do, and they help us define our new research ideas, right? So however, the traditional methods, they're time consuming. Imagine I want to like do a review, but I'm using the manual way. I'm not having a tool to help me like know what's there and what's not there. So it would be hard for me to get there. So where am I coming from? So I'm coming from this background where we know that AI is new and it's transforming various aspects of our life, including research, right? So probably we're going to be using natural language processing and machine learning, and these tools offer some powerful automating and enhancing literature review process. For this paper, our objective was to like systematically review the current research on AI-powered tools and technologies that enhance the literature review process. We aim to understand how these tools can improve efficiency, accuracy, and overall effectiveness in conducting literature reviews. For our methods, we did some comprehensive search on the 4 major databases: Scopus, Science Direct, Wiley Online, and Taylor and Francis. Then we focused, we actually followed the PRISMA guidelines to ensure the systematic review transparency. So I'm not going to be talking of the results because it might spoil the paper, but we managed to identify 7 collaborative learning mechanisms. Number 1, which is communication and coordination. Number 2, which is knowledge sharing and co-construction. Critical thinking and problem solving. Peer learning, scaffolding, motivation and engagement. Instructor facilitation and support, right? Then we move on to the challenges with integrating AI. We come back to the point that some people do not even understand the use case of AI. Why are we using AI? Why? So people are trying to use it as a hack. But let me tell you one thing. It's this hack. I'm going to give an example. Let's say we're in the Olympics, and I'm going to run a 100 meters race, but I wasn't practicing, or I was like cheating when we were practicing. Now the whistle goes, go. On your marks, get set, go. I am here. I'm trying to run, but I cannot outbid those who are like using it effectively, not to cheat, but those who are understanding the proper use case of AI. So educators can leverage AI tools to enhance teaching and research. So this is going to make the literature process more effective and efficient, right? I'm actually going to share a few tools that some researchers, like real-life examples that other researchers may use, and see how these tools can simplify life, can make the process easy and more accurate. So number one example, we have iris.ai. Iris.ai. So this is an AI-powered research assistant that helps researchers and navigate like various amounts of literature, academic literature. So it uses natural language processing to understand the context of a research query and retrieve the papers, right? So the application, this application, researchers input their research question or abstract, then the AI will give out a list of relevant studies, helping you streamline the literature review process. So this tool can save researchers significant time to automating the initial search, right? Then number two, I'm just going to give two examples, I think. We have this one, ARA Discovery. It is an AI-based app that, that actually helps researchers research articles over 100 million papers across various disciplines. It uses machine learning algorithms to recommend papers based on a user's reading habits or interests. Applications, researchers use ARA Discovery to stay updated with the latest publications in their field. This helps them receive personalized recommendations that help them identify relevant studies quickly. So the impact, right? These tools have been adopted by researchers globally, including the top universities like Harvard and Oxford, making the literature review process more effective and tailored to individual researcher needs. So with all that being said, right, we just need to understand the proper use case of AI tools, why we need AI and how we can use it effectively in our researches, and how we can improve our researches, and how we can improve the time frame being taken during this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Luke. I guess someone's trying to phone you. Great stuff. Thank you so much for that. Riabetsebe, his talk will be, has the legal field embraced artificial intelligence and analysis of the use of artificial intelligence tools for learning and legal research. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. What? Good afternoon, everyone. Perfect. I'll just give some highlights of my paper. You know, I'm short, so I like to keep things short. It's simple, straight, right? So I'll just make a brief I'll just give a brief background about artificial intelligence in the legal field, right? So it can be traced back in 1970. It was formed by a legal specialist who published publications outlining the possibility of using analogical reasoning to model legal research and legal analysis, right? So the first formal engagement of artificial intelligence and law, it was in 1987 in a conference, International Conference of Artificial Intelligence and Law, which was held in Boston, right? So I've heard speakers, they spoke about artificial intelligence, but to my recollection, none has maybe reminded us what is artificial intelligence, right? So I'm just going to give academia definition and my own definition, which is, I think it's applicable to an ordinary citizens, right, to understand what is artificial intelligence. So the academia definition, it can be defined as a computer software programmed to perform specific algorithms that can analyze, make up conclusions, give suggestions, and strategize to complete tasks usually performed by human beings. You know, that's a lot of jargon there. But in a simple, ordinary language, I would like to define it as a human-created technology tool used to perform human activities in a fast, cheaper, and effective way, right? So I'll skip to the use of artificial intelligence tools for legal research and learning, because that's what my paper focuses on. I was a student in this university. I did my LLB here. So during our first year in our library orientation, we were introduced to UJ Library, right? How to use the UJ Library online, right? So you find tools such as LexisNexis, Westlaw, Hain Online, Sabinet. Those tools, they help you to access case laws, regulations, and acts, right? So they make it easy for a learner to access those acts or legislation in your comfort at home, rather than having to go to the library and have the document and page through to, let's say, for example, you're looking for Section 188A of Labor Relations Act. So you have to page through manually. But using the online platform, you can just refine your search. Type Labor Relations Act, Section 188A, then it pops out. So it's less time consuming, right? So another usage of artificial intelligence for research and learning, it can help in contract preparation and review, right? So where it prepare initial drafts of legal documents, e.g. contract, demand letters, provide language that can be used in legal documentation. I can give an example of that. There is an artificial intelligence called Robin, right? So that website, it gives you a predetermined, what's this thing? A sample of contract. So you just put in information there. So it makes it easier for you. It can also edit and review your language, right? Again, when we look at legal research, it can allow counsel to rapidly search large database to gather relevant data, precedents, laws, and regulation for specific jurisdiction. I can also give you an example for that. There is an artificial intelligence called Elicit AI, right? So Elicit AI, it also refine your database. Due to time, I can see now my time is almost done. Before concluding, there's a case law actually. There are two case law. I just used two case law. In USA, there was a case of Mata versus Avianca, right? Where lawyers submitted fake court cases, citations were wrong, the court were non-existing. So this point out to say that even though that artificial intelligence can be effective, but we cannot shy away that it can be incorrect, it can hallucinate, right? So you need to use it effectively, and you must have prior knowledge on how to use it. In my ending remarks, to law firms and law students or candidate legal practitioners, it's either you can choose between the two. It's either you absorbed AI or AI absorb you. Let me just paraphrase it for legal. It's legal for technology, or technology for legal. I'm not going to explain because of time consuming.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, I'd like to encourage everyone to engage in all the panel members, and if you want to learn more about their specific topics, please engage them. That's what it's all about. The next, the last one, And if there was an award for the best dressed gents, I'm pretty sure you two will be in the running. Longibule and Samuel, and their title will be Exploring Research Trends on Artificial Intelligence in Libraries, a Bibliometric Analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Lungile Mtanyana. I'm from Walter Sisulu University Library. My role there is to manage the digital library for the institution and the access to electronic resources. So that's what I'm doing. I'm from computer science background, and then after that, I was an instructional designer for the institution, and then I joined the library at the beginning of 2020 during COVID. So we are working on a paper with my colleague, Mr. Samuel Ngoyini. The title for the paper is Research Trends on Artificial Intelligence in Libraries. So the reason we are working on this paper, it's because libraries are moving towards adopting artificial intelligence in improving their services. So as Walter Sisulu University Library, we are also moving towards that direction. So we felt that before we can implement, let's look at scholarly publications. What are the current trends when it comes to research in academic libraries? Because we are in higher education sector, so whatever that we do needs to be informed by the scholarly articles. So what we have done then with my colleague is that we searched the databases, and then we used AI, we used RStudio to upload all the documents that we found from the databases. And then from there, we took all the data and tried to analyze it using revolutionize. So we ran a code on RStudio, and then from there we were able to get an overview of what is happening when it comes to the research in the library sector, in fact in AI in libraries. So we found the data from 2017 to 2024, and then we found 51 documents. Those are the documents that we analyzed. But what I want to say is that when it comes to countries' scientific production, we are not doing well as South Africa. As you can see that on that graph, those are the leading countries when it comes to research, AI research in libraries. You can see that China is leading, then there's UK, there's India, Pakistan, but you'll find out that when it comes to South Africa, we are at the bottom of that graph. So it means now there is a gap for us as librarians to do more research when it comes to AI in libraries. So that is informed by our analysis that we have done through RStudio. So there were some trends, interesting trends that we found when it comes to AI integration in libraries. So the first one that we found is enhancing user experience using AI. So we found out that most libraries, they are doing that. They are using AI recommendation systems to suggest and recommend books to users. So it means that if I was searching for a book or I was searching for a topic on a database, then the AI will then be able to recommend in future when I log in onto the system that based on your past research, then these are the papers, these are the books that you can read. So those are the trends that we found on the literature, that libraries are using AI to enhance user experience. We also found out that libraries are using AI to develop chatbots. So these chatbots, what they do, they chat with patrons. In the absence of librarians, there are these chatbots that are there 24/7, which are handling queries from the users. So if users are asking questions, these chatbots are there to answer all those queries. So the remaining trends or the remaining part, I will ask my colleague to come up front and finalize. But it's a very interesting paper. We hope to publish it by end of this year. He will just do the final remarks on what we have done already. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. My colleague earlier indicated that there were regional disparities in terms of the output, research output related to AI in libraries. And we've got several countries that are leading in the area, such as Pakistan, China, UK, USA, and India. And most importantly, what is some of the factors that contribute to these disparities is the level of investment. Very important, the level of investment. For example, China and India have substantial governmental and institutional support for AI research, which leads to higher volume of publications. And also these countries have larger populations and numerous educational institutions, which creates a robust environment for academic and practical research in AI. So in contrast, South Africa's limited representation in AI-related library research can be attributed to several challenges. Some that I can mention include the sufficient funding to R&D, research and development, and also we've got issues of limited access to technological infrastructure. And also we've got a small academic community focusing on AI. Something that we do not forget as South Africa is that we've got socio-economic factors, educational disparities, that might hinder the ability to engage extensively in cutting-edge research. So to enhance these underrepresented regions like South Africa, very most important one is the making the AI a strategic priority.
Great.
And very important that we increase investment in technology. And also we need to establish collaborations and partnerships with leading international research institutions. And very importantly, those collaborations must start internally, because our paces, for instance, in the institutions are not the same. I may give an example of research that's got a bigger pace than the library. We've got teaching and learning, we've got a bigger pace, ICT. For instance, what we are doing currently, in terms of implementing these technologies, we have recently renewed our subscriptions to Turnitin, which we have negotiated with our ICT that it must embed AI. Also, we have recently subscribed to Grammarly, and also we have negotiated with our researcher division that it must also embed AI. So those are the important areas that we need to look at.
Apologies, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Also, very, very interesting discussion. I'd like to open up the floor for one or two questions, and if we can keep them brief. I know there's one more, but we are almost at lunch, so I don't want to keep you too long from your lunch. So, one or two questions.
Going once.
I see a hand over there.
There we go. All right.
Thank you to the presentations. The gross ethics monitoring system, we would like also to remind us in regards to the protection of POPI, I think Protection of Information Act, which more or less complement each other with the PIA, the Protection of Access of Information Act. So I think also now if they're using AI, who's going to appoint guard in those regards, with the acts. Also the issue of, when it comes to university clearance, I think, the the issue of if we adopt AI, libraries adopt AI, which means there's going to be a reshuffle of books which are still not being used inside the library. So do we think also, is there the consent too? Thank you very much.
All right, whilst the panel deliberates on this question. Anyone else?
No. Okay. Anyone else? It's going, gone. Any on
All right.
the...
No, gone. Let's throw this question back to the panel. Panelists, talk to us. Let's start from the right.
And again, if we can just keep it brief, that would be much appreciated.
Answering on behalf of the question about POPI, right? It's POPI Act, right? Okay, in South Africa, at the moment, we do not have legislation that regulates the use of artificial intelligence, right? And we know that Section 11 of the POPI says that you cannot share or data processing of someone's information without their consent, right? But currently what is happening is that the drafters of the POPI, they are learning how to use AI so that they can incorporate or they can enact a law that is going to regulate what? It's going to regulate the data processing. So I think...
Right. Any of the other panel members want to contribute?
For library.
Alrighty.
In the analysis, we have also identified that there are issues, ethical issues related to data privacy. So these are some of the areas that we need to, as the libraries, to look at when we're implementing these technologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. MC. Over to you.